Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and Instagram. These top 4 are the most commonly used social media apps in 2020. These platforms have completely changed the way we communicate, from being able to chat with your family on the other side of the world to launching your own business from scratch. In May 2019, the 21st century use of the term influencer was added to the English dictionary. The original use of the term describes a person who inspires or guides the actions of others. The revised definition is a person who is able to generate interest of something, such as a consumer product, by posting about it on social media. Some of the most popular influencers share the image of a life full of riches and fame as a result of their self-made brand. There are different types of social media influencers that can be categorised. First, you've got micro-influencers with 1,000 to 10,000 followers. Then you have macro-influencers who might be your reality TV stars or models. Then there are mega-influencers who are the A-list celebrities with well over 1 million followers like Beyonce and Kim Kardashian. Whether the content is a blog post that goes viral, an award-winning show, or the release of a platinum-selling album, celebrities at all stages are involved in the creation of something that appeals to a wider audience.
Since I've worked in PR, there's been such a rise in influencers. I think brands now realise that people want to see what real people enjoy and would much prefer to buy from influencers.
As Instagram turns 10 years old in 2020, follow me as I take a look into the evolution of social media influencers and what it is about these everyday people that audiences find so incredibly captivating. This timeline, published by Social Media Weekly, gives a very brief depiction of the evolution and birth of social media influencers as we know them today. We can see that up until the social revolution and invention of social media itself in the late 1990s, the influencers that had the most power over an audience's actions were celebrities in a very traditional sense of the term.
Because it's L'Oreal, and I'm worth it.
We begin to see in 2004 how the introduction of blogging platforms such as Facebook offered users the ability to communicate globally and for the first time to establish an individual presence online. The launch of YouTube followed in 2005, bringing users an outlet for their creative content in a video format. Subsequently, in 2006, Twitter became a new platform for sharing opinions and is typically a more political platform. Eventually, in 2010, Instagram was launched. This platform fit perfectly with the times because the rise of the modern-day smartphone was just starting to begin. Users who were once passive to the higher powers of the media now had the opportunity to step into the shoes of a model, photographer, editor and producer and share their own creative content. Instagram influencers' accounts are very much driven by the type of images and now videos that their audiences are drawn to. Zoe Sugg is a fashion blogger who began writing about her fashion and makeup tips on her blog and gradually moved on to filming tutorials for YouTube. Then further adding to her self-made brand Zoella, she also began sharing content on Instagram. When you take a look at Zoe's Instagram grid, it is clear that she's an influencer, not only because of the incredibly aesthetic images, but also because of the focus on fashion and lifestyle. Similarly, when we take a look at beauty blogger Holly Boone's Instagram grid, it is more apparent that she is a makeup-focused influencer, as you can see her tutorials and close-up makeup looks. As time has unfolded, popular trends have also interchanged. Vlogs, house tours, tutorials, hauls and Q&As are just a handful of the trends that we've seen go viral and become popular. And while people are willing to watch and listen, influencers will continue to thrive this way. Best-selling author, online sensation and cleaning fanatic Mrs. Hinge, also known as Sophie Hinchliffe, is one of the latest UK-based influencers to take the nation by storm. She began hitting headlines back in 2018, going by the handle Mrs. Hinch Home, after reaching an incredible 1 million Instagram followers in just 3 months. The former hairdresser from Essex is a self-confessed cleaning mad woman. She shares her latest cleaning tips on her Instagram stories and home decor inspiration on her Instagram feed. She's even earned the title of a cleanfluencer, as used by The Guardian and many other newspapers. While Sophie's home is immaculate and an inspiration for us all, I find it really fascinating why 3 million or so people are so interested in watching somebody cleaning their house. The early 2000s series How Clean Is Your House with Kim Woodburn and Aggie McKenzie is the only other popular clean-focused text that really springs to mind when it comes to cleaning hacks and tutorials. Amongst the ongoing row over gender equality in the media, representations of women as cleaners and domestic goddesses are typically seen as outdated and a misrepresentation. With that, I wanted to take a closer look into why Mrs. Hinge and her cleaning secrets became an overnight sensation.
For an influencer to talk about mental health, I find it quite relatable, and I feel like it's quite comforting listening to her because it feels as if though she understands from my point of view.
Talks about everyday things that not many other influencers want to show. It's something that they all want to hide, whereas she's very open about it.
In 2019, Mrs. Hinge became a best-selling author with the publication of her book, Hinge Yourself Happy. Her book title includes use of the word hinge as a verb to describe cleaning. She refers to her cleaning closet as her Narnia.
Narnia. You've probably seen the word floating around Instagram. Narnia is another word for your under-sink cupboard.
Individually names her cleaning products and puts her sink to bed at night.
Quick hinge. Oh dear.
It could be the use of such made-up phrases that have made Mrs. Hinch's online persona so appealing to so many people. Her character is bubbly, positive and funny, the kind of traits that you might find in a television presenter or reality TV star.
My hinges are so friendly that we all help each other, and I'm doing it for them.
Like many A-list celebrities, Mrs. Hinch's fan base has formed a nickname. They call themselves the Hinge Army. Having a fan base like this creates a sense of community amongst her followers, which is comforting for many people who use social media for escapism and social interaction. Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains how people naturally long for a sense of belonging and community to develop and become the best version of themselves. As an influencer, Mrs. Hinge provides her followers with a safe community where they can express their shared interests and become a part of a wider friendship. Social media provides us with a certain type of hyper-reality because it blurs the lines between fiction and reality. Our Instagram feeds are inundated with photos that only provide a small snapshot of somebody's life. Comparing our lives to this hyper-real representation of someone else's has taken a huge impact on the digital generation's mental health. For an influencer like Mrs. Hinge to speak so openly and honestly about her own mental health issues with her followers makes her an influential figure and role model for those who also struggle with mental health issues.
There's no worse feeling than when you're sat there and you get like that heat in your chest and you start worrying and panicking for no reason, you don't even know why, but you can't get rid of it. So for me, I'll get up and might grab my mop or I'll grab my Hoover and I'll get going. And when you feel your most weakest, you're still achieving something, and I put my music on and I just crack on. And
as a former hairdresser, Mrs. Hinge is not a professional cleaner, but a self-taught cleaning expert. And in recent months, she became a brand partner and ambassador for Procter & Gamble, owners of some of the most well-known home cleaning products out there, including Febreze, Ariel and Lenor. Having a partnership like this is an incredibly huge milestone for Mrs. Hinge to reach. The ability to form brand partnerships online is one of the biggest reasons why becoming a YouTuber or influencer has turned into a full-time career for many people. Instagram as a platform is hugely responsible for some of the biggest influencer marketing campaigns that are out there. The rapid pace of our ever-evolving digital world means that there is an increased need for brands to keep up with consumers' conversations online. It appears now that everybody has equal creative access, which means that brands must only work harder to stand out amongst their competitors. And to do so, many have turned to using social media campaigns and influencer marketing. When influencers work with brands, not only do they earn a sum of money, but they also earn a reputation associated with a brand. Influencer marketing works for both the brand, who receive promotion through digital word of mouth, and for the influencer, who might receive products to review and are sometimes paid the big bucks. Influencers also gain an increased reliability and positive reputation when working with brands, because to work with a brand in the first place, you must be an established influencer and have a large enough following. A BBC report stated that when an influencer hits 10,000 followers, they usually begin to monetize the content that they post. Zara McDermott is a well-known influencer who rose to fame on the reality TV show Love Island.
I was inundated with deals, and to be honest, still am. I think, wow, everyone kind of wants a piece of me and a piece of my social media, and it's quite flattering in a way. I think people can start to see through really scripted advertisements that you might see on TV, whereas someone seeing how a dress might look while I'm out in a restaurant shows them how it really looks. £3,000 for one Instagram story, which would probably take me maybe 10 minutes to do.
The Advertising Standards Authority put regulations into place which means that when promoting a brand, influencers must include their intentions, whether their endorsement is a paid sponsorship, advert, gifted post, or simply their own opinion. This is an attempt to increase the transparency of influencer marketing regardless of the paycheck. I met up with Jennifer Cohen, a 21-year-old mental health advocate from London who has worked with a number of big-name brands to promote body positivity and empowerment to her 12,000 followers.
I started my account as a bit of a personal, mental health diary actually, mostly because I didn't feel comfortable talking to people about it face to face yet, and what I found was that there's actually a very active mental health advocacy community on social media, and I met a lot of people who shared my experiences online, and I found that incredibly helpful. I then also realised that sharing my experiences was not only cathartic for myself, but it was having a positive impact on other people who were also struggling. In terms of brands, it really depends what I'm posting. So obviously I use my Instagram also as a personal account. I post things about me going out, me seeing my friends, being at university, etc. And when I'm posting things like that, on the whole, brands aren't really interested because it's just very average living, I guess. I posted this picture at the end of November, which is literally just a picture of me in my bra with a very long mental health caption about feeling insecure and having a fuller chest as a young woman and how the fashion industry doesn't really cater to that body type. That got a huge response. And from that, I had several lingerie brands message me asking, lingerie and swimwear, asking to send me some of their products to try. I even had a new fuller bust brand ask me for my measurements so that they could make their clothing more accurate when they brought out their new collection, which really validated everything that I'm doing because, it felt like I was actually making an impact on the fashion industry little by little just from that one post. I think the biggest problem though that we have is influencers or celebrities advertising products that they haven't really even tried. And that are potentially dangerous. So I'm really just talking about the diet industry. I'm talking about protein shakes, meal replacements. I like to think that I'm on the positive side of Instagram. There's definitely a really intense dark side to social media, but as is with anything, with any industry, be it in real life or online. And I think that the biggest problem that we have is teaching our kids that they just shouldn't be on social media whatsoever. Because realistically now, social media is everything. It's business, it's shopping, it's advertising, it's food, it's fashion. Everything is on Instagram, and it's become a very important part of not just our social lives, but also our economy.
As our digital world continues to evolve, we cannot predict what the next trend will be or what the future holds for social media influencers. We do know, however, that this is what more and more people seem to be doing, and the popularity of influencer culture shows no sign of stopping. Influencers have well-established platforms that can be used to spread incredibly important messages, as we've recently seen during the Me Too movement, the Australian wildfires, and more recently, the outbreak of the coronavirus. At the end of the day, influencers are humans before anything, and when humans are given the power of a loud voice, they have the power to change the world.